like for a days, we can pay and we can stay there. You want to stay for a month, 1 month, 2 months, you can stay because you can pay. The whole year, many years, you want to stay at that mansion. If you can pay, you can stay. So in the same way, you can stay in the abode of noble ones as long as you can pay. So what you have to pay? Yogi have to pay in terms of faith, aspiration, and effort. You have to pay Saddha, Chanda, and Vidya. Saddha, faith, Chanda, aspiration, and Vidya, effort. So here faith is very important. You will put effort in something only when you have faith in its potential profit and benefit. Without faith, you will do nothing, you will reach nowhere. So when you believe that, the mindfulness, the mindfulness, the important features of the abode of noble ones is greatly beneficial. You will put great effort in the development of it as instructed by the Buddha. Be mindful of whatever manifested. Because of the faith, you eager to practice meditation energetically, so you give up everything. You give up all appointments, you give up all family affairs and other business, you give up everything to practice. However, faith alone is not enough. It is also necessary to have strong aspiration, chanda. You have strong aspiration to attain vipassana insight knowledge. Your objective is megaphala enlightenment and nirvana, because you're so afraid to go wrong in samsara, wrongs or rebirths. You want to free from aging, sickness, and death. So you have strong aspiration to attain vipassana insight knowledge. So long as you can pay in terms of these three qualities, saddha, faith, chanda, aspiration, and vidya, effort, you can dwell in this, the abode of noble ones. So if you have faith, aspirations, and effort, you take a chance, you take the opportunity to practice 2 months here. You seize every opportunity to develop your mindfulness. As soon as you come to the center, you practice walking meditation, walking, when bending, you note bending. When stretching, you note stretching. When seeing, you note seeing. When hearing, you note hearing, and so on. Every moment of your mindfulness means the moment you dwell in the abode of noble ones. You are going to this abode of noble ones. You are building up this abode of noble ones. You are dwelling in this abode of noble ones. So to be mindful for a few moments, or to be mindful of for few minutes, means to dwell in the abode of noble ones for a few moments, for a few minutes. The longer you are mindful, the longer you can dwell in the abode of noble ones. How much you have to pay? You don't need to pay even a single penny for that. In this sense, the practice of mindfulness can be compared to dwelling in a grand mansion free of charge. So if you want to dwell peacefully and gracefully in the abode of noble ones, you just develop mindfulness. Sometimes people totally forgot. They don't see that samsara, rounds of rebirths. They don't see the true nature of suffering, the cause of suffering, etc. And they say homeless is no problem, or to live in the poor house is no problem, to live in the cottage exposed to all dangers, no problem. Then they just spend their life without mindfulness, the whole life without mindfulness as usual. So it is up to us, choice is ours. You choose to stay in the abode of mindfulness, so you always be mindful. You choose the way to build up the Ariyavasa. So what are the benefits of noting every phenomena and dwelling in Ariyavasa? What are the benefits? The benefits is freedom from woeful states. It is the great benefits among others. Of course, we cannot get these benefits without practice. Nevertheless, the practice may not necessarily take long to bring you such great benefits. In this regard, here is one story of Dambadatika. The executioner. It is the time of the Buddha. During the time of Buddhas, there lived in the city of Rajagaha a public executioner called Dambadatika. Perhaps some of you have ever heard about Dambadatika. Dambadatika was responsible to execute thieves and robbers who was sentenced to death by the law courts. So as the first effort in his career, Dambadadika executed 2,000 criminals, 500 each from east, 500 from west, 500 from south, 500 from north quarters of this Rajaga city. Later on, he had to execute at least 1 or 2 criminals almost every day. So in this way, Dambadadika had carried out his duty for 55 years until he was not very strong. He became too weak, so he had to retire from the service of executioner. So on the day of his retirement, Dambadadika made preparation to enjoy. He made preparation to enjoy urgently 4 particular things. So in those days, there are 4 particular things that were not allowable to an executioner. Executioner are not allowed to take milk porridge cooked with ghee. Executioner are not allowed to wear brand new garments. Executioner are not allowed to be decorated with jasmine flower. Executioner are not allowed to apply fragrant lotion. 4 particular things are not allowed to an executioner. So this prohibition would seem funny, ridiculous to modern people, but in the olden days, an executioner might be considered to be too inferior to enjoy them. So anyhow, it is human nature to think highly of something forbidden and to long for that 4 particular things. So on the day Dambadadika was retired, he planned to fulfill his long suppressed desire. So he asked his wife to cook milk porridge for him. Then he went bathing in the river. After bathing, Dambadadika wore brand new dress, applied fragrant lotion to his entire body, and decorated himself with jasmines. When Dambadadika was back home, he was well prepared to enjoy the milk porridge. At that moment, Venerable Sariputra became aware through his abhinya, supernatural power, that Dambadadika was about to enjoy the milk porridge he had longed for past 55 years. And also Venerable Sariputra saw Dambadadika would die very soon afterwards and be reborn in the hell, like a warrant issued for his arrest as a result of his evil deeds. done for 55 years. So pitiable. He will die very soon and he will go down to hell. So pitiable. Venerable Sariputta had great compassion to Dambadadika. So out of compassion, Venerable Sariputta, with the purpose to do something for his salvation, when they are right away. Venerable Sariputta stopped for alms right in front of Dambadadika when he was then about to enjoy the milk porridge. If Dambadadika, the executioner, had lacked faith, he would have even felt annoyed by Venerable Sariputta. But now Dambadadika felt very glad to see Venerable Sariputta. He reflected in this way, what a fortunate I am. I saw Venerable Sariputta many times before, but I had nothing to donate him. Now I have got something to donate him, and Venerable Sariputta is standing right in front of me. What an opportune moment it is. So Dambadadika had Yoniso Manasikara, wise reflection. It is very important. Sometimes the object is desirable or undesirable. If there is Yoniso Manasikara, wise reflection, you will develop wholesome deeds. If there is ayoniso manasikara, unwise reflection, you will develop unwholesome deeds. If Dambadadika had yoniso manasikara, unwise reflection, he will reflect in this way. I long for this porridge for many years. Why the Venerable Sariputta stand in front of me? He don't know the situation. So that kinds of unwise reflection will occur and it will happen ayoniso manasikara and akusala, unwholesome mental state will arise. And if he have ayoniso manasikara, unwise reflection, he will be annoyed. Venerable Sariputta standing in front of him for alms. But now Dambadadika has wise reflection, yoniso manasikara. He had wholesome reflection, wholesome thoughts. So Dambadadika invited Venerable Sariputta and offered his milk porridge respectfully. So faith is very necessary for any accomplishment. Just as someone who has no hand cannot pick up anything, however useful or precious it may be, so also someone having no faith would not do any good deeds, even if he or she has met Buddha, the holy teaching, and the noble ones. Most probably, he or she would even feel advanced to them. So when you have hands, you can pick anything precious. In the same way, if you have faith in the triple gem, and you are most likely to do wholesome deeds, from which infinite amount of noble treasure would accrue to you. So Dambadadika endowed with strong faith offered the milk porridge before he enjoyed it, even though it was the food he had longed for many years. When Dambadadika, the executioner, attended to Venerable Sariputra meal by sitting nearby and fanning him, he felt very hungry and desperate to enjoy the porridge. Venerable Sariputra aware of that. So Venerable Sariputra let Dambadadika go somewhere and enjoy the porridge. Having satisfied himself with the food, Dambadadika came back and sat nearby restfully to listen the sermon that Venerable Sariputra was going to deliver. The Buddhist sermons are deep and profound. The Venerable Sariputra gave Dambadadika a sequential sermon, Anubhogata, starting with talk on generosity, Dhanagata. Sequential sermons are Dhanagata, Silagata, Sagagata, Megagata, etc. So first, he have to talk on generosity, Dhanagata. And then on morality, moral conduct, Silagata, that included precepts to refrain from killing, to refrain from stealing, to refrain from sexual misconduct, to refrain from daily lies, and to refrain from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs. When it came to violation of moral precepts, Venerable Sariputra explained that he who took other beings' life would be reborn in woeful states, and even if reborn in the human realms, he or she would have a sickly and short life, surrounded by enemies and so on. And then Venerable Sariputra talked about certain kinds of wholesome deeds, Dana Sila Bhavana, Dana Sila, generosity and moral precepts that can lead to celestial realms, Sagagata. So by performing charity, by observing Sila, you will be reborn in the heavenly rebirths. And finally, Venerable Sariputra talk about how to attain enlightenment, Megagata. So yogi understand how to attain enlightenment. There is a practice of meditation, developing mindfulness. So in this case, Venerable Sariputra taught Tambadadika how to develop constant mindfulness. That would guard his thoughts, his state of mind against mental defilements like greed, hatred, delusion, etc. Indeed, Ambadadika, listening to such a solemn and sublime discourse, felt immensely remorse about the unwholesome deeds he had done for last 55 years. I've done a lot of unwholesome deeds. I am not worthy to that profound Dharma. He felt immensely remorse. Then Venerable Sariputra, aware of what Dambadadika was thinking about, and Sariputra asked him, Dambadadika, why you do not appear to be paying attention to the discourse? What happened to you? Sariputra asked Dambadadika, and executioner Dambadadika confessed that remorse and anxiety lay heavy on his conscience and made him unhappy. Venerable Sariputra, your Dhamma is so profound, but I've done a lot of misdeeds in my life, so I'm not happy. Dambadadika replied to Venerable Sariputra. Then Venerable Sariputra asked him, Dambadadika, you had committed these evil deeds of your own free will? Sariputra asked him, and Dambadadika replied, Bande, I carry out the order of the king against my will. He replied. Thereupon, Venerable Sariputra asked a tactful question. Dambadadika, you carry out the order of the king against your will, then how could these evil deeds be yours? So Sariputra asked this in this way. Here we should consider Venerable Sariputra question carefully. Venerable Sariputra did not deny that Dambadadika was morally responsible for the execution of the convict. He simply asked a tactful question with the purpose to ease Dambadadika's conscience and to make him attentive to the discourse. In reality, an evil deed is an evil deed, no matter whether it is committed of your own accord or at someone else's instigation, no matter. Of course, the karmic consequences can be grave or light, depending on the degree of violation associated with deeds. But now Dhammadharika had no knowledge of this fact. So Dhammadharika innocently concluded, well, it is only the king who was responsible for those misdeeds. I carry out killing the order of the king. So all the unwholesome deeds belong to the king. So Dhammadharika innocently concluded in this way. So this conviction helped him overcome his anxiety so that he could listen to the discourse expounded by Venerable Sariputra attentively. So in this condition, there was a man who once jokingly said to other people, so that man said to other people, oh my friends, it is not always good to be intelligent. On some occasion, it is good for us to be naive. And other people ask, why, my friend? It is not so. It is not good to be naive. Then that man replied, you can see Dhammadharika, the executioner, if he were intelligent, he would never have overcome worry and anxiety in order to pay proper attention to the sermon expounded by Venerable Sariputra. Now, thanks to his ignorance, he could find solace in Venerable Sariputra, tactful question, by interpreting that the king was totally responsible for those misdeeds. But Dhammadharika's ignorance is not what we should admire him for. And it is not a good example for us to imitate Dhammadharika. Instead, we should try our best to improve our knowledge. We have to improve our knowledge theoretically and practically, improve our knowledge by listening to the Dhamma, reading the Dhamma books, approaching knowledgeable people for clarification of unclear points, and practically to develop vipassana knowledge and mega jnana. We need to observe every phenomena occurring at the six sendos. We need to develop, we need to be intelligent. So having listened to the sermon attentively and contemplating, eventually Dhammadharika, the executioner, attained a certain stage of insight knowledge called Anuloma Jnana, that is conformity insight. So yogi understand there are 16 jnana, 16 vipassana knowledges. Basically, you understand Namarupa Brajita jnana, you start to distinguish mind and matter. Whenever you observe, you don't see one, you see two. Sitting, when you know sitting attentively, you understand the sitting, stiffness, tension is one, it is rupa, and knowing the kinds of stiffness and tension is nama. You can distinguish very clearly. Hearing, you observe, and then sound wave and eardrums are rupa, and hearing consciousness is nama. You see two, previous time you see one, now you see nama and rupa. So nama rupa brajita jnana, distinguishing mind and veda, and then you continue and you discern causes. Before movement, there is the intention to move is the cause, and the moving is the effect. You start to see the kinds of causal relationship, and then you could comprehend the phenomena thoroughly, beginning, the middle, and the end of the phenomena process, samasana jnana, and then you see the arising and disappearing process. That is Ariyavasa jnana. Then the objects are disappearing very fast and falling process only of the phenomena, that is Pinka. And when you see the disintegrating phenomena continuously, you have fear, that is Bhaya, fearfulness, and then faultiness, disenchantment, desire for freedom, and recomprehension, and then Sankarupika jnana, equanimity about formation, and then Anuloma jnana, knowledge of conformity, etc. They are 16 vipassana knowledges. So now here, just paying attention to this discourse attentively, and at the same time he is contemplating Dhammadharika attained Anuloma jnana, maybe a few minutes. Mindfulness is so reliable. Within few minutes, he attained the kinds of jnana, Anuloma jnana. But here, Anuloma jnana, there are three kinds of insight knowledge by this name. The first one refers to any stage of vipassana insight, starting from the samasana jnana, knowledge of comprehension. So that is the first one. Samasana jnana is the insight knowledge characterized by contemplation of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. And second kind of Anuloma jnana is the advanced level of Sankarupika jnana, the insight characterized by equanimity that is very close to mega enlightenment. And the third one of Anuloma jnana is the mega oriented vipassana insight that forms a part of mega mental process, mega viti. So there are three kinds of Anuloma jnana. So what we have to agree. So it is difficult to determine exactly which conformity is that knowledge Dhammadharika attained. In this case, Dhammavada commentary describes it as the insight knowledge close to the first stage of enlightenment. Sottapatti Megasak Orato. It is an insight close to the first stage of enlightenment. Accordingly, it should be considered the advanced level of Sankarupika Jnana, knowledge of equanimity, that is quite close to the attainment of the first stage of enlightenment, Sottapatti Mega. If it was Sammasana Jnana, knowledge of comprehension, it will be described as the immature stage of insight, Taruna Vipassana Jnana, or as the insight close to the Ariyavasa Jnana, the second stage. So here, given the phrase, close to the first stage of enlightenment, as mentioned, it must be Dhammadharika attainment must be advanced level of Sankarupika Jnana, knowledge of equanimity about formation. And the question is there any evidence for the Anuloma Jnana to be regarded as the advanced level of Sankarupika Jnana? Yes. There is evidence for the Anuloma Jnana to be regarded as the advanced level of Sankarupika Jnana. So according to the commentaries, there were cases in which Bodhisattva ordained and meditated till they gained the Anuloma Jnana in the holy orders of some Buddhas. For sure, their Anuloma Jnana is not the mega-oriented Anuloma Jnana, because mega-oriented Anuloma Jnana would lead directly to the mega enlightenment. So such mega-oriented Anuloma Jnana can arise in Bodhisattva only when he is about to become fully enlightened Buddha in his last existence, but not in any of his earlier existences. So obviously, Bodhisattva Anuloma Jnana exactly refers to the advanced level of Sankarupika Jnana. So the Anuloma Jnana that executioner Dhammadharika attained should be considered the same kind. So as I mentioned before, if you are mindful of whatever manifested to you, your thoughts would be well guarded against mental defilements. From this point of view, Dhammadharika Anuloma Jnana can possibly be any stage of Vipassana insight knowledge, at the very least, the Sammasana Jnana, knowledge of comprehension. In any case, one thing we can say for sure that sure is that Dhammadharika was able to develop mindfulness as a single gut up to a certain stage of Vipassana insight knowledge. So Venerable Sariputra concluded his talk when he was sure that this much insight knowledge is enough for Dhammadharika to be well guarded against woeful states. Then Venerable Sariputta left the house, and Dambadariga saw him off to some distance. On the way back home, Dambadariga, the executioner, was gored to death by a cow. So it is said that the cow was an ogress in disguise who killed Dambadariga in revenge for harm he has done to her in a previous life. So that was what the Dhammapada commentary says. But of course, skeptics would like to consider it just an ordinary cow. So we have to say this because modern people would analyze whether it is sensible for an ogress to disguise herself as a cow. But from their perspective, you may take it as an ordinary cow or a cow possessed by an ogress. So anyhow, what the commentary say is that the cow was an ogress in disguise. So in this Dhammadariga story, Dhammadariga just developed mindfulness for a few minutes, and then he can dwell in the Ariyavasa, the abode of noble ones, and he attained Anuloma Jnana. So when we, at our last moment, if we attained Vipassana Jnana, is that knowledge, we dwell in the Ariyavasa, the abode of noble ones, and we can dwell in this Ariyavasa safely and gracefully. So we will not be reborn in the fourfold states. So we will continue tomorrow. On the next day, we have to stop our discourse for today by developing mindfulness, by building up the house of the abode of noble ones, by practicing the Ariyavasa Dhamma, by practicing a Satipatthana method, by noting, rising, falling, sitting, stretching, bending, seeing, hearing continuously and meticulously. May all yogis dwell in the Ariyavasa. May all yogis build the Ariyavasa, the abode of noble ones. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. Sadhu. To recite Mahasatipatthana Odesa Pali. Ekayano ayam bhikkhave Mego Sadanam Visuddhiyam Sogabari Devanam Samadegamaya Dukkha Domanasanam Atingamaya Nyayasa Adigamaya Nivanasa Sijigiriyaya Yadidam Daro Sadibatana Kadame Chadaro Ida Bhikkhave Bhikkhu Kaye Kayanubasi Viharati Adapi Sambajanam Satima Vinayam Loge Abhija Domanasam Vedanasu Vedananubasi Viharati Adabi Sambajanam Satima Vinayam Loge Abhija Domanasam Chete Chetanubasi Viharati Adabi Sambajanam Satima Vinayam Loge Avijja Domanasam Dhammesu Dhammanubasi Viharati Adabi Sambajanam Saddhima Vinayam Loge Avijja Domanasam. English translation. This is the only way, bhikkhus, for the purifications of beings, for the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, fearance of pain and grief, for reaching the noble path, for the realizations of nirvana, namely the four foundations of mindfulness. Here in the teaching, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu thus contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, removing desire and discontent in the world. Bhikkhu thus contemplating the feeling, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, removing desire and discontent in the world. Bhikkhu thus contemplating the consciousness in the consciousness, clearly comprehending and mindful, discontent in the world. A bhikkhu thus contemplating the Dhamma in the Dhammas, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, desire and discontent in the world. Honoring and sharing merits. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Bodham Bujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Dhamma Bujemi Imaya Dhamma nu dhamma pati patiya Sangha Bujemi Imaya Dhamma nu dhamma pati patiya Vada Bidara Bujemi Maya Dhamma nu dhamma pati patiya Acariye Ujemi Adayimaya Padivadaya Yaramaranama Parimojai Sami Idame Bonya Asawakaya Waham Odu Idame Silam Meghavala Nyanasa Pachaya Hodu Imano Punya Bhagan Sabha Sadhanam Demam Sabbe Saddam Sukhidam Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.